about that, how he fishes shallow water, how he finds these out of the way. I think weren't you guys out fishing today?
Kinda.
More like trying to film something. Hey everybody, welcome to Bass University live on Tuesday night. I am super excited to be here. We're going to have another champ on the show tonight, which is going to be awesome. Patrick Walters, fresh off of his monster win, record-setting win on the Bassmaster Elites at the Texas Fest on Lake Fork, catching 104 plus pounds in 4 days. And that's impressive enough all by itself, but he absolutely dominated the field by close to a 30-pound margin over second place, which was incredible. And doing it in a way that is really cool, using forward-facing sonar, chasing fish around, fishing for fish that he can see. And it was amazing because a lot of other guys have that technology, and he did it. He was able to absolutely dominate the field. We're going to have him on. You're going to be able to ask him any questions you want about his techniques, how he used his sonar, what kind of jerk baits he was using, because this is key. Jerk baits in the fall can win. And obviously, in this case, they certainly did. And we're going to be talking about the baits, talking about his strategy, and diving in deep with Patrick Walters, the winner of Texas Fest on the Bassmaster Elites, coming on in just a few minutes. So hang in there with us. It's going to be a great show. I see another Texas Fest competitor in the studio tonight. GDP has made it home. We're super excited to have you in studio.
Yeah, man. You know me. Always love being in the studio with the boys.
Well, it's great to have you back, man. Texas is, what's that, like a 80-hour drive for you to get home?
Yeah, it was like a week of driving. It seemed like.
I know it's a long way down there for us, but It's good to have you back in the studio. And you had a great event as well, man. What a way to end the season on a high note.
Yeah, no doubt. I kind of needed that, man. To be honest with you.
You did it. I mean, I know it was a tough southern swing in the fall. And to wrap it up like that with a dominant first day's catch, man, that was huge.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I guess we'll get into all that stuff, but it was pretty cool the way it unfolded.
Awesome,
yep.
Awesome. Well, glad to have you in studio. Of course, we got BTC and the Riz in the house, pushing buttons, making it happen. What's up, boys?
What you got? You got none?
I just lost Pete's audio.
Oh, well. Pete said, we got Riz in the house.
I'm here, yeah. I'm happy to be here for another Bass University Live, as always. Like Greg said, hanging out with the boys. It's always good to come in here and talk some fishing. And I'm excited for another great show. Hear how Patrick Walters was catching these gigantic bass on a jerk bait. Like, what? Mind-blowing. That's such a fun bite when, that rod just loads up, and so I'm excited to talk to him about it.
I might have caught some jerkbait fish today.
Say what?
The jerkbait is killer in the fall, man. It's a killer in the fall. And Riz and I fished a tournament. We're going to be talking about that later. We paired up and jumped in with the River Rats down on the Upper Chesapeake. Also, some record catches going on down there, and we'll so hang in there with us. You guys want to talk Chesapeake? I know a lot of people watch the show from around here. We're going to be talking about that and how we fished that tournament. It was a lot of fun. Thanks to the River Rats for having us. And BTC, you were busy this weekend too.
Yeah, man. I fished down the flats on Sunday. Went down and tried to compete in the little electric only boat.
And you did.
I did. Actually, it's funny. I ran too much. So yeah, like I said, we'll get into that after we talk to Pat. But I found myself running around too much when I should have camped. There were too many bass boats on the stuff I wanted to fish, so I took my electric only ass and ran all over the place like a dummy.
Burned some
Yeah, didn't burn any gas, but still ran around. So yeah, it was still good though. We caught we had 11 pounds. I don't think I could have done better than 15 from what I saw, but
unless you caught a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. You guys caught more fish than a lot of people on that event. This time of year when you catch a limit and you're culling,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people are grinding just to get to 5.
Yeah, and I left fish because I didn't feel like there were big ones in that area.
Whoa.
Yeah. And there were 7 boats on that dock. So
Good dock.
there was multiple. Yeah. Like, hey, let's try somewhere else. But anyhow.
Yeah. It was good derb. It was good to see you out fishing. I had a lot of fun out fishing, and what a giant 9-pound bass caught on Saturday, and I just amazing for a body of water. I think this is true. The lunker that was weighed in on Saturday in our tournament on the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland was heavier than the lunker that won Texas Fest on Lake Fork and won a truck.
Yeah.
That is something. 9.9 on the truck.
Oh, 9.9?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it 9.9 or 9
I
ounces?
said 9.9. So 9 pounds, 9 ounces.
Well, then it was a 9.7 pounder.
Okay, so
9.7
is bigger.
Yeah.
There you go.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Hey, we were in the ballpark. Hey guys, if you haven't signed up for Bass U TV, guess what? It's the best time of the year. We launched our Black Friday promotion early. It's $50 off an annual subscription right now. So go over, get yourself signed up. You can ask questions to Patrick. You can ask questions to panel, and you can do that all by being a subscriber to Bass U TV. And it also gives you access to over 750 instructional seminars, including GDP's how to use 360 mega imaging, which just dropped today.
Whoa.
On bashu.tv. So you don't want to miss that. You want to go check that out. So get yourself subscribed, get over and check it out and take advantage. Tell your significant other you want to subscribe to Bashu TV, you want that present for Christmas. Now's the time. We opened up our promotions early, and we've got a lot of really cool prizes for all the questions coming in. We use your question live on the air. We are going to hook you up with some cool stuff. Riz, I'm going to let you give them all the details.
That's right, Pete. As always, anybody that gets a question through to the show, we are hooking you up tonight with a Rapala jerkbait gift bag. All right, we're going to send you a couple Rapala jerkbaits for anybody that gets a question on the show. As always, we're going to have a grand prize, which will be a trivia question provided to us by none other than Mr. Ken Duke. That grand prize is going to be over $100 in Flambeau and Rapala products. So you're going to get a Flambeau box that's absolutely loaded with Rapala jerkbaits. Since this recent event was won on a jerkbait, that's what we're hooking you up with. We want you guys to go out there and catch those big giant bass, and right now it's jerkbait season, so we're sending you some jerkbaits. We're also doing a Facebook like and share. The Facebook like and share tonight, the winner will receive 4 Bash University official Rod Warrior rod sleeves. Okay, these things are awesome. They keep your rods protected. They also float. Earlier this year, the Dean did a video where he threw his rod in the pool and demonstrated that they float. They're neoprene. They're really
Legit.
good. So Facebook like and share tonight. Make sure you like and share tonight's feed. Get entered into a chance to win 4 Rod Warrior rod sleeves. But, guys, the deal is really, really to be on bashu.tv/live. And right now, if you're not signed up, you can sign up for free. Use the code BULive30. Get 30 days for free. Unlimited access to over 700 of the best bass fishing videos on the web.
Outstanding. And we also have the Black Friday promotion going on right now too, if you want to subscribe annually. So come on over, get subscribed, get your questions answered. Man, we got a lot to talk about. We've got the champ on. We want to get right to him. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to bring Patrick Walters, the Texas Fest champ, on, and we're going to be talking to him about how in the world he caught 104 pounds when nobody else could touch it. Can't wait to talk to him about all that stuff. So hang in there. We'll be right back with Bash University Live. Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worman series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom, goes the dynamite.
Every moment on the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Tackle Warehouse is proud to sponsor the FLW Pro Circuit and is the official tackle retailer of FLW, providing proven bass fishing gear as well as the newest and hottest tackle. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service staff can help you every step of the way. And we offer free ground shipping on orders over $50. Tackle Warehouse, everything for the bass angler at the lowest prices. Guaranteed.
I have to be constantly on the lookout for new techniques to stay on the top of my game.
Giant.
Some have been more successful than others.
Giant.
The finesse fingernail.
Happens every time.
The chain gang.
Broke it off.
The crow's nest.
Never let go.
And don't even get me started on tackle management, especially trying to stop rust and corrosion. Peanut butter.
Not good.
Motor oil. Gotta keep the rust off all these baits. WD-40.
Keep the rust off.
Silica, toothpicks, Q-tips, the list goes on and on. I'm hard on tackle, I fish fast, I need my tackle organized and protected. I can't be worrying about losing baits to rust. And when it comes to tackle management, there's only one solution. Flambeau tackle storage systems with Z-Rust technology. The original anti-rust tackle box. Uncompromised clarity. Renowned durability. The infused anti-rust option that is FDA safe and free of harmful chemicals. The organization options are endless, but there's only one. One box, one anti-corrosion technology, one family-owned American-made brand, Flambeau Z-Rust Tackle Solutions. Preserve, perform, repeat.
The price of them is outrageous.
Welcome back to Bass University Live, guys. What a show we've got for you tonight. I'm super excited that we have him on the show. He did a massive win this weekend. He won the Texas Fest with over 100 pounds. He's won Bassmaster Open. He's won on the college level, and he won this tournament by almost 30 pounds, totally dominating the field. Super excited to have him, Patrick Walters. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank y'all for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Man, it's got to be such a great feeling. I know winning an Open is amazing, and then on the college level, man, you won at the highest level there is. Are you still out on cloud nine?
Truly, yeah. I really don't feel like it's set in yet. I mean, just to think about it, what you've set your mind to and the goals that you've set and how hard you work for them, that it's kind of hard to sit back and realize, like, man, it's happening. You know, it's last week was such a whirlwind. Every single day was it was kind of hard to believe it was true. Every day was such an adrenaline high, and then it was an adrenaline dump. So, I mean, at the end of the week, it was just, I told my dad, I said, man, I got to sleep for like a week. I felt like I could truly come home and just sleep for a week and not even do anything. But hey, business got to roll on.
Hey, we appreciate you cutting some time for us. And did you sleep during the week? Were you like I know I've been in some of these high pressure tournaments. I don't sleep a wink.
GDP's probably could say for this as well. It got dark at like 5:30 and didn't blast off until 6:40. So I mean, I think I got like 8-9 hours of sleep every single night. Slept like a baby.
Damn, that's good.
Holy smokes! How did you do that? I want that answer.
I mean, it's just fishing. There is a lot of pressure on the line, and you do have to worry about it. But sometimes you just got to block it out because I'm always fishing against the fish. That's how I look at it. I never looked at really the lead or whatever, the weights or anything. Every single day I'm going out there to catch what I think I can catch. And I'm telling you, I sleep like a rock.
Man, I thought you might be using like one of those TikTok sleep apps or something.
No, that week actually I had the old man drive me out there, and his snoring, it was about the only thing that was keeping me awake. And trust me, he was cutting some logs. It was a little tough, but we made do.
Well, man, that's great. That's a lot of mental toughness to be able to be in that control with all that pressure on and sleep like that. So that's great that you were able to do it. And after day one, I mean, Rick Clunn starts out with a monster 29-pound bag, but you were hanging right in there. How'd you feel after day one? Did you feel like, man, I got a shot, or, I got to try to keep pace with Rick, or where was your head at?
Honestly, I was like, man, I really hope that was not a fluke, because in practice, the biggest fish I caught was 3.5 pounds. I caught a bunch of 2 and 3 pounders kind of. I mean, you could kind of go around and catch them at will, I felt like. And I didn't set the hook on a bunch of them, but you could see them. And the biggest fish I lost in practice was 6 pounds. That was the only one I saw that was like, whoa, okay, there's some size to this. And then the first day I left my first little creek, it was Little Caney with like 17 or 18 pounds at 11 o'clock. And that was what I thought I could catch. I was shooting for 15 pounds a day with a chance at 17. And when I left Little Caney at 11 o'clock, I had 17 pounds. I told my marshal, I said, dude, we're doing pretty freaking good. I said, I got an area up the lake. I said, we'll go check it, and we'll just go see if we can go catch a big fish and see what happens. And I pulled in there and culled everything I had out in like the last 3 hours. And I was like, that had to be a fluke. I said, the weather was right. The big fish just bit. That's what it was. And everybody's like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just, I was trying not to jinx it. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I have no idea. I was like, I hope I can go there and just catch a couple fish. I was thinking I was going to go there and back it up with 15 pounds and go from there. And day two, pull up, because at the end of day one, I left them biting on one stump. After I caught I got to 25 pounds, it was one stump I had that it was like 3 casts in a row. They were all 3.5 pounds, and I could see there was like 5 more sitting on it. And I was like, I probably don't need to stick any more of those. I'm like, I'm at 25. I don't think I'm going to top this. I was like, I'll come back and start on that stump tomorrow and see what happens. And then I think we cracked 20 pounds in like 45 minutes the second day. And just started off. I mean, I was like, whoa, okay, maybe this wasn't a fluke. I think the water was dropping a little bit. I think the fish were just kind of dumping out, because one of the better areas that I found was up the lake. It was right above Lake Fork Marina. It was funny. Me and Dad get up every morning before, sunrise, and we're sitting there talking on day 2 of practice. And I was like, yeah, I want you to go drop me off at this boat ramp on the other side. And he was like, it's a small lake. Why don't you just drive over there? And I'm like, no, Lake Fork is, when you start fishing, like, it's so hard to get around. So you just kind of put the trolling motor down, you go to the bank, and it takes you forever to kind of get around. I said, no, I'm gonna go put in that boat ramp over there and just kind of see what happens. And I put in that boat ramp up there and went like 100 yards and put the trolling motor down and caught like a 3-pounder my first cast. And I only saw like 2 fish. And every single day they just kept flooding to that spot for some reason. It was unreal.
That was unreal. That was amazing, because nobody else was experiencing that. And GDP, you had a blistering day one as well. Yep. Was that a surprise for you that you were able to catch them so well?
No, I actually found them this third day in practice. I pulled up on it and actually, graphed through there. It's funny because it's where the fish were. I already went through there one time in practice and never saw a thing. And I came back through the third day and I saw them all. I was like, holy crap, look at them all. At one point there was probably like 40 down there that I can see for sure, just in one pass. So I threw one cast in practice. I caught a 2 1/4, and I was like, all right, they're all bass, because there's a lot of white bass in this place. I go back the next day in the tournament for the first day, and it's just, I mean, it's wide open every cast. So, and then, you know, I left a ton of them there, you know, figuring they'll still be there. But when I walked outside day 2, it was a lot warmer, and I was like, uh-oh. And that's the only thing I can say. They just kind of broke up from where they were and maybe went into the timber lines. I don't know where they went. I tried to find them. I couldn't find them.
But your fish were concentrating for you, Patrick. They like, you know, what you said, you think it was the falling water that was pulling them?
I think so. I mean, because my whole pattern, basically what I based the whole tournament off of, was suspended fish. I feel like it's the hardest fish to catch. I hate catching suspended fish. I absolutely do not like it. But if they set up on certain pieces, if they set up on timber and they are suspended, you can typically catch them at times. And I just felt like they were it was getting better, and there was no general area of the lake that was like superior. Everywhere on the lake basically had them. That's why I was blown away. Nobody else was really doing that or catching them, because, I mean, I caught them around Lake Fork Marina, halfway down the lake, caught them in Little Caney, caught them on the right side, right in front of the launch and around the minnow bucket. Like it really didn't matter for location for some reason.
That is a great, you know, a testament to what you did. Yeah, that makes it special, super special. A lot of guys are very competent at this and using that forward facing sonar and being able to see them and catch them. You know, man, you really set yourself apart. How did you do that, or how did the other guys miss it?
I've been asking myself that for a couple of days. I mean, in practice, I felt like I was lost. Nobody was fishing around me. I was like, man, I don't know where everybody's at. People would fish the timber every now and then. I really don't know why. I think because I mean, I've been fishing timber and like lay down stuff for the last couple months now. Like a Cherokee the week prior, that's what I did, and scratched out a top 10 finish there. So I had everything tied on. And what's weird is in practice, I tried every single bait basically that I had to catch those fish. I knew they were bass. You could tell just how they were set up and how big they were. I mean, I threw Depths 250s. I threw big glide baits. I threw the Stormarashi glide bait. I threw 10-inch mag draft, 8-inch mag draft, 6-inch mag drafts, the Zoom swimmer, 3/8, the Zoom Z-swim, 3-inch swim baits, DT20s, DT10s, square bills. Like my dad at the end of the practice said, you think we should clean that trash pile up? That looks a little dangerous. Because there was just a mound of treble hooks right there in front of where the marshal sits. And I was like, nah, I'm not sitting there. It'll be all right. But I ended up cleaning it up a little bit. But, I mean, I tried everything I thought to catch those fish, and they would not bite anything but a jerkbait for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm not going to argue with them.
Well, you know, you say that. I watched your technique fishing this jerkbait. It looked like some kind of burn jerking speed technique where you were just on it. I mean, you were just pop, 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 pop with that jerkbait. Tell me about the technique.
It's like a game of cat and mouse. It really is. I mean, it's like playing with a laser with a cat. I mean, you know, sooner or later you're going to get that cat fired up, and all you're doing is you're sitting there with that little laser and you're moving it slow, and then you shake it, and it's the same exact thing basically. But now with forward-facing sonar, I can tell exactly what that fish is doing, where is he sitting, how is he acting, and I'll throw 20 different baits in there, and he won't move, and then I'll finally find something. You see he gets that twitch in his neck, and then he starts chasing it. I mean, as soon as you trigger that reflex for them fish to feed, I mean, you got them fired up at that point. That's the biggest thing. If he's not in the mood, he just will not bite. I mean, I don't care what you do. It won't happen until you finally trigger that feeding instincts. And so I'll sit there, I'll play with cadence, slow, fast, pause. You really have to just kind of dial it in to what they want. I always believe, and this is my saying, I've said 1,000 times, you got to let the fish do the talking, and they'll tell you what you want, what they want. And when he finally bites it, that's him telling you you're doing something right.
Well, it was interesting. So each fish was different in essence. You had to figure out the retrieve.
Absolutely. A fish is, I mean, every single one, they got different personalities. I mean, that's why, I knew I was going to catch them on a jerkbait. I had 6 jerkbaits tied on one side. I had swim baits, square bills, DTs tied on the other side of the boat. Even though I knew I was going to throw a jerk plug, I had 15 rods on deck. I love having a lot of rods on deck for some reason. I had different colors, different line sizes, different depths. And I'd sit there and make 5 casts at him. He wouldn't move. I'd pick another one up, throw a different one until I finally got him triggered. And, low light conditions, I would throw opaque. I'd throw like a shag color, more like a white. Like I actually got one right here. Just more like a white. That's what I'd start out with, something like that. Early, bright, where it was kind of dark conditions so they could see it. And then as the sun got up, I would go more shiny or more transparent color, just really kind of see how they reacted.
Man, well, I was hearing a story from you and BTC talking about you just running those fish down, running one fish down for an ungodly distance. Tell me about that. You're seeing a fish and you're chasing them with your sonar.
I learned that from Taku. I got to give Taku E2 props to that one. No matter who you meet, I don't care if it's a co-angler. I don't care if he doesn't fish. I don't care if he's been fishing for 100 years. You can pick up and you can learn something from anybody. That's why you always, I like to listen. I do like to talk, but I like to listen and take things away from people. But when I was talking with Taku, because I was just talking to him about the smallmouth fishing this year, because, he had a phenomenal season. And a lot of people were using forward-facing sonar for smallmouth tournaments. And I would see those fish, and I'd make one cast at them, like, oh, he didn't bite, and I'd make a second cast at him, and then I would leave. I'd go look for another one. And I said, Taku, what are you doing different than everybody? How are you beating us? And he said he had 2 drop shots and I think like a Ned rig tied on. And he said he would chase those fish for 15 minutes, throwing all 3 different baits at them until he finally got them to bite. And I was like, wow, I had no idea. Didn't even think about chasing fish or something. Cause like, if you see him, you can tell it's a good fish, of being persistent on that fish till you get him to bite. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to maybe start doing that more. And just over time, I started playing with that. I did a little bit at Cherokee and then here. It was the first day when I was starting Little Caney and I caught like 17, 18 pounds. I caught my biggest one in there. It was the last one I caught when I was like, oh yeah, we need to roll out, go catch a big one. I was fishing some timber in the back of a pocket, and there's shad swimming around in there. And I'm just sitting there panning around, and you see one big blob like 70 feet out to the left. And, I throw a cast out there, and it doesn't, and you throw it in there, doesn't react. I'm like, that's a good fish. Like, I gotta go take a look at that. And I, turn the boat over there, make another cast, nothing. And so I kick the trolling motor up, and I stay on him, and he's just swimming. You can see him swimming off. And I keep casting. It was 5 minutes later. I'm still casting at this fish, and I'm like, man, I just have not got the bait on the right position on him for some reason yet. And then I finally threw in there, and it must have finally went right across his face one time. And you could see him. He's just swimming, and he just turns and instantly goes to the bait, crushes it. It was like a 4.5 pounder. Wow. It was my third biggest fish on day one. And my Marshall was blown away at that point. Like, he was just, and I was blown away. I was like, holy cow. At some point I was like, man, it's gotta be a drum, I've been chasing this fish. And I chased it. When I looked back at the spot, I was 200 yards from the back of the pocket where I started. I was almost at the mouth of the whole creek.
That's crazy.
What did the fish do? Did he go to another piece of timber when you caught him? Did he follow a brake line? Where
No, he was like 3 feet below the surface, and he was in the middle of the creek just swimming. Wow. That's the one thing when you start playing with different technology and you start learning the fish behaviors. We never have realized how much these fish spin and how much they move. I can promise you, I never knew how much fish swim. I was like, man, he's sitting on that spot. He's not going nowhere. Them suckers get out of town. Like, he didn't even know I was there. I just stayed 60 to 70 feet back the whole time, just casting at him. And he was just swimming out of the creek. I don't know where he was going or what he was doing. And he was just swimming. I guess he was looking for the next ball of shad to run into. But the only thing he ran into was that jerk plug.
He was running from Patrick Walters is what he was doing.
It's crazy how long they can hold their breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we checked him though, just in case.
Man, that's just tremendous. Tell me about, was there any other really cool fish strikes or occurrences that you can remember from
every single day? Something would happen or change where you could kind of tell. Like day 1 or day 3, the day I caught the big bag, I was like, okay, wow. Day 2, it's not a fluke. I was like, let's see if we can just kind of ride this and see what happens. And I pulled up on 2 really good stumps that I caught some fish on the first 2 days. And I pulled up there, and I don't really see much, and I throw in there, and one kind of follows it out. And I'm like, okay, whew, there's still fish here. And I'm like, well, I didn't catch anything. I spent like 5 minutes there, and I was like, all right, I'm going to kind of work my way down the bank. And I'm starting to leave, and I pan out to the right, and 120 feet off of the bank in the middle of nowhere, there's one tree sitting out there. It's between me and all the spectator boats. Like, they're almost on the fish. And there's one fish, and it's just sitting right on top of the tree, like 4 foot below the surface, like on top of the tree. And I'm like, gosh, I got to throw out there with that thing. Threw out there, and it was that 9-1, middle of nowhere. And I'm like, all right, we're about to ride the moment. We're riding the train now. I mean, when something like that happens, and then the biggest thing too was just kind of telling how those fish didn't strike was what happened on day 4. Day 4 at 1:30, I had 11 pounds at 1:30, and I'm like,
that's right. It was like cloudy.
Not happening.
Yeah, it was like cloudy. It was a different kind of day, and your weight was low for a while.
Real low skies. There was not much sun at all, and the fish were still there. And they would chase your bait for 50 feet. I call it dancing on it. They're sitting there dancing on your bait, dancing on it, chasing it. Like they're chasing it every time. I mean, and they'd follow it for 50 feet, and then you'd pause it. They'd get right there, and they'd stop, and then you'd jerk it, and they'd just chase it, and you would never get them to bite. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of. I'm not going to force it. If that fish is not in the mood, I don't care what you do, he's just not going to bite. And so at 1:30, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull the plug. I was fishing deep. I was fishing like 11 to 30 feet for the first couple hours. And I was like, well, if they're not biting deep, I'm going to go shallow. Pulled in the next pocket that I went to was a shallow pocket. And I went in there day 2, and I caught a 5 and a 4 pounder. Day 2 was actually the pocket I started in practice where I found the bite in general, and went there the last hour of tournament on day 4, and they were in there.
Man, and it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. I was able to catch that, second half of the tournament and watch that go down. And I watched some crazy stuff like David Mullins use that exact technique with a jerkbait to catch his 7-pounder. And he found the winning pattern.
There's a good reason for that. There is a very good reason for that.
For him catching the 7-pounder?
There is. I mean, he did find that fish, but me and Mullins, we talked after day 1, and he was asking about it. And I mean, Mullins did have a very good chance at AOY. And he came to the boat, and we talked for a minute, and he was like, what are you doing? I said, dude, I'm telling you, I'm throwing a jerkbait. I said, flat out, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. You got a darn good chance. I said, this is what I'm doing, flat out. And I said, keep your head down. And he was like, okay. And then he kind of followed me back to the boat landing, and we set the boat down. And I was like, did you kind of understand what I said when I said keep your head down? He was like, I thought you meant just fish hard. I said, no.
Yeah.
LiveScope. I said, keep your head down, look at them, and get after it. And then I told him a spot in Little Caney. I said, dude, go in there and fish in there. I said, you could probably catch 17 pounds. I said, I'm not really going in there tomorrow. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, I'm just not probably going to even go in there tomorrow. And I mean, it was very tough fishing. And I think he thought I was lying to him when I told him, I said, you can probably go in there and catch 17 pounds if you do that. And I don't think he ever went in there. And cause he's like, why are you not going in there? So I'm going to go up the lake and fish Main Lake. I'm going to try to fish for 20 or 25. And I mean, he got a 7-pounder. He was close.
Yeah. Yeah. He was super, super close. And of course, shout out to Clark Wendlet for
absolutely. Clark did an amazing job, and he truly earned it this year. He deserved it.
Yeah, no
Clark's
doubt.
a good dude.
He's won everything, and now he's got the Bassmaster AOY. So great job, Clark. And but you did on day 4. You just all of a sudden, man, you figured it out. You dialed it in, and you seemed to put a lot of pressure on yourself to break that 100-pound barrier. You had this Derby won before you made your first cast, just about.
A lot of people were saying that, but tell you the truth, with who was behind me, I mean, you got Keith Combs, Lee Livesey, Brad Watley, Stetson Blaylock. I mean, these guys have true history on Lake Fork. I mean, Lee's a guide out there. Keith Combs got who knows how many, probably 35-pound bags out there. So I knew, I was like, listen, if I can catch 25 pounds out there, who knows what those guys can catch. I figured all of a sudden the wind would get right, the bait would push into a pocket, and they were just going to pull in there and pull out a big old crankbait or something and just catch 35 pounds. So I feel like you could not let off the gas with those guys fishing in the field and those kind of quality fish living in Lake Fork. I mean, the huge fish live in there, and anybody can catch them. I mean, it's nothing but pulling up at the right time.
Yeah, that was truly amazing, and we're gonna dive into that. I want to remind everybody that the Black Friday promotion is going on with Bass U TV, and we got $50 off right now. We've launched our promotions early this year, so if you haven't subscribed, now's the time. Get over there, get yourself subscribed, and if we use your question live on the air, we're going to hook you up with some really cool stuff. And Riz, that's your cue. I want to throw it to some of the Bass U subscribers. I know they want to talk to Patrick. What do you got on the IMs?
For sure, Pete. The message board has been absolutely awesome so far already. Some really outstanding questions coming through tonight. I just want to give a few shout outs. Got a lot of new names on the message board. That's awesome. Dale Jr., Little Buck 3, Kyle Hines, Josh and Mason, Sacco, Josh from Kentucky, Brian's Empty Live Wells, Grattan Fishing, RD Fishing, Pete's Dusty Trophies, Prince, to Hog Snatching, Jared D. Just tons of great stuff coming through. And guys, actually later in this segment, we're going to have a Bass U TV subscriber on the air live with us via Zoom to talk to Patrick Walters while we're live tonight. So that's even more the reason, guys. Head over there, sign up, come hang out with us tonight. But without any further ado, the first question that we are going to go with is from Josh and Mason on the message board, and they want to know, Patrick, how did you identify likely areas to fish your pattern? Did you find everything in practice, or did pre-map study help you develop this pattern?
I'd say it was truly probably a mixture of both. You know, I always do a little bit of map study to kind of see what the lake looks like, you know, how to get around, kind of what's going on. But mainly when I got there and pre-practice is I wanted to find the areas with bait and also clear water. GDP can say this, the water was brown. I mean, it looked like coffee. It looked like it just came off a turnover. I was not a fan of the water color at all. So I wanted to try to find the cleanest water I could. That's why I kind of stayed down the lake. I felt like you had two options. You had to stay down the lake to the cleanest water you could find, or you had to run as far as you could up and get in dirty water where it was already dirty. So I tried to find cleaner water and where there was more bait at, and then just find those staging areas where those fish were kind of loaded up.
That's great question. Appreciate you guys. And like I said, we're going to be hooking you guys up with some really cool stuff. One of the things that I saw you doing, which I thought was really cool, and I've done this before on topwater tournaments where you hold your cast, right? When you have the herring spawn or something like that, you're holding your cast. You're waiting for that moment when, you know, because you can't have your cast out there when you see what you need to see. You need to be ready. You were holding your cast. You weren't just fishing. You didn't seem to ever take a cast unless you saw something on your screen.
You know, it's a double-edged sword. It really is. You know, learning your electronics and learning when to use them and when not to use them, it's a hard thing to kind of cope with, because, you know, when you first get forward-facing sonar like that, you know, you want to try to hold your cast and you want to try to look for the fish, and you waste a lot of time. And so you got to learn when to use it and when not to use it. And there's times when you need to be fishing, and while you're fishing, you're looking for your next cast. But there's certain times where, kind of like what I was doing, where they would set up in the trees, and when I could tell when they would set up that it was a catchable fish. So it really wasn't worth my time casting to a million trees out here when he was only going to be on that second tree on the back left, the one that had the 2 acorns still on it, because there was an owl that was hollowed in that tree about 100 years ago when Rick Clem planted that tree. So that was the tree that I was gunning for.
Oh man, it's so crazy to see. But one, did you feel a lot of pressure? Like, cause I know when I've fished tournaments and I've held my cast, it's like your watch just goes in hyper speed. Like time goes so fast. Did you feel that time pressure when you were doing that?
Every single day that I fish, I can feel like walls just closing in. That time, it's ticking. And you gotta be thinking about it, because like I'm always at Patrick, that clock's running out. I mean, you gotta hurry up and do what you gotta do. But there's times where I know that I'm fishing faster, looking for the fish. At certain times, you know, you can't. It's not a cure-all, and that's what people really got to understand. There's times when it is best to hold your cast and look for them, And there's times when you do that, you're going to get spanked. Trust me. It happens that way. You have to learn the hard way, but no, the time is ticking, but I know when I find what I'm looking for, I'm going to get bit every time. Like if I can find 3 to 5 fish setting up, it was because they start competing. And then it'll be done.
Yeah, we've seen that and talked about that a lot before. When there's more than one there, they're easier to catch.
Absolutely.
They just fight. They're super jealous. They don't even want it, but they
Much
don't
like
want
high
the
school
other
girls.
fish to
I'm
have
telling you, they're out there just fighting it up. They're behind the gym. You don't know what's about to go down.
That's right. You got to get a little slime on you sometimes.
Riz, let's get another question from the Bass U IM board.
Patrick, John from Kentucky wants to know, did you fish your jerkbaits straight out of the box, or did you make any modifications to them?
Great question,
John. Usually it's straight out of the box. I mean, sometimes if it's out of tune a little bit, you can sometimes tune my crankbait. I don't do that too much, but I do change hooks every now and then. And during the tournament, I changed hooks a good bit. I want the sharpest hooks you can have because they were not eating the bait real good sometimes. Some of them were, I mean, it was pretty good how they were choking on it, but a lot of times they would just swat at it or hit it with the side of their face. And when they're doing that, when you're throwing a jerk bait all day, you're sitting there dulling the points on the side of the bait. So, I mean, there was times, I think the first 2 or 3 days, I probably changed hooks 5 times a day, at least.
I saw you lose a couple fish and you made a upsized your hook adjustment. But I think I got distracted. I didn't see if that worked for you. Did that work for you?
It did. After that, I really didn't miss any more fish. What it was is we're like a normal jerk plug's got 3 number 6s on there. What I did was typically in general, a size 6 hook, it's a smaller hook and it's got a little more flex. They're still sharp hooks, but if you hook one, it can flex out more. It's not as strong. And it doesn't have as much bite on it. And so what I did was I went to 2 number 4s. Instead of doing 3 number 4s, that would have made the bait completely sink. I wanted to keep the weight as close as I could to keep the bait to suspend. So I went to just 2 hooks. I went to the front hook and the back hook. And so I had 2 larger hooks. It kept the action of the bait free, kept it suspending. And so I had 2 larger hooks that didn't have any flex. That way, if they come and nipped at it, I mean, he had a much bigger hook than a little number 6 in his face. And after that, I was kind of surprised how much better it worked. It was just a random idea. Sometimes you got to run with ideas like that. It could have been a fail, but you don't know if you don't try things. So got to keep them honest.
It was a heck of an adjustment. Obviously, it worked for you. And while you're on that topic, let's dive in with some, with all the gear. What kind of rod and reel and gear ratio and line? What are you throwing on your jerkbaits?
I threw 2 rods. I threw the Daiwa Tatula Bass 7-foot medium light jerkbait rod. That's probably my favorite jerkbait rod right now, hands down. And also the Daiwa Tatula Elite 7-foot medium light Randy Howell rod. It's another jerkbait rod. And I was using that for the little bit bigger plugs and the shallower ones. And I threw both of them. I had 3 with 12-pound Suffix Advanced fluorocarbon and 3 of them with 14-pound Suffix Advanced fluorocarbon. If I was throwing real thick in the timber, I would go to the 14-pound. And if I was out in open water and trying to get the bait a little bit deeper, I would switch to 12-pound. Just really kind of, you had to play with it for some reason. No really rhyme or reason. If it was just thick cover, I'd go bigger line. Or if I was fishing shallower, I'd go to the bigger line. But more open water, trying to get the bait deeper or better action, I'd go to the 12.
I'd say, well, you bring up fishing around the timber, and I want to, one of the problems that I've found about jerking around timber is it's really hard to get your bait close enough to trigger the strike, but yet not get hung up.
That's true. One of the best tips, and I've been kind of holding this tight for a little bit, is that's why, the fish weren't sitting that deep, but I was throwing the deep versions. That right there, it's a square bill. It sounds dumb and it's so simple, but if you throw the shallow versions, they tend to roll and they'll roll into wood. Where if you throw the deep versions, they just kind of go like that and they just roll right over top of it. You're still going to get snagged.
kidding.
I can promise you. I got snagged 30 to 45 times a day, but you just have to go in there and go get it.
30 to 45.
I mean, if you weren't skinning bark, you ain't catching fish. So I mean, it's
right.
You
Brian,
had to throw it.
How many jerk baits do you think you would have broke off if you were snagging 30 to 45?
None, dude. You know me, I'm staying there till the end. It gets personal, man. That snag, and I'm like, no, that ain't no.
You're going swimming.
I'm going swimming, dude. I'm in there.
The good thing
I don't
was
care.
it
I don't
was
care
just-
if it's a Senko that I took too long to rig up. I'm staying there, dude. I ain't breaking it off. It's personal. Hand-to-hand combat. I don't give up.
I love it.
Yeah.
Did you what was your trick? Did you lose baits? Do you have a retriever? How did you?
No,
get
I
it?
only lost about 4 or 5 baits. The bait really, it's not getting that deep. You know, I'm only throwing like 20 feet past it and working it to it. And all you had to do was just troll over there to it and go right behind it and jerk it from the backside, and it would come right out every single time. Only a couple times, if you went down there and poked it with the rod tip, it'd come out. I mean, it's not like it's real brushy down there. You know, it's not like a brush pile or a treetop. I mean, it is a straight tree. So if you went down there and touched it, it would come right out. It wasn't like it's not much to really snag on.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's the tree, but if you went and poked it, it would be good. If you went and got in like a root base or something, that's when you're done for. If it wraps up into it, but usually it would just wedge right into it, and you could just go up there and poke it. It'd come out about every time.
That's well, it's great advice. Wow, it is blow your hair back moment at Bash U when you talk about the deep dive and Bill comes through the stuff better. I never even considered that as an option. So that's pretty amazing.
I throw a deep jerk bait in 2 foot of water.
What?
I'm not kidding you. I mean, sit there and just straight up just digging. The shallow one, I do like the shallow version if I'm trying to keep it above them, you know, but the deep one, I mean, it's just sitting there just digging. I mean, look at Keith Combs, how he throws a 6X deep. Somebody tell me how he does it. That sucker dredges it. I mean, sits there and just, what's he doing? Mud line, dredging it.
No doubt.
Something different.
That's it. That is certainly different. And the lips don't break off when you're doing that.
I mean, you might go through some, but I mean, it's worth it.
That's great stuff. I knew you were going to dominate this. Well, you already dominated at this point, but when you caught that fish and you flipped your sunglasses in the water and just nonchalantly just reached down and caught them too, I'm like, man.
I still don't know how they came off of my head that fast. I watched the video afterwards, and it was like somebody just sucker punched me. Like them glasses just. They left.
I'm like, they're gone. It's over. It's history. And you come up with the sunglasses. I'm like, this is his tournament. There's nothing going to stop it.
Sometimes when you're living right, you're just living right. And there's no words to describe that week. I'm telling you, I don't think I did anything different. Same practice, same technique. Everything was the same. It was some greater force. I mean, it was just, you couldn't stop it. I don't care what you did. You could have tried to do wrong and tried not to catch them, and it happens that way sometimes. Every now and then you just experience it, and you got to ride that train.
Man, it was a lot of fun to watch, and Riz, I know a lot of people still have questions for Patrick, so let's get a few more in.
That's right, Pete. Grattan Fishing on the message board wants to know, Patrick, was there a particular kind of timber that you were looking for?
No, not necessarily a particular kind. It was mainly the positioning of the timber, whether it be on a point, the furthest one out, the last one out, or a lot of times, it would be a funnel, like a little creek going in the back of a pocket. It'd be the one that's dead in the middle of that one. Or if I'd get out there in the middle of nowhere, I'd be in 35 foot of water, and all the timber would be 10 feet below the surface. And then there'd be one tree that would be 3 feet below the surface out of all of them, and they'd be sitting on that one. So irregularities, irregularities in fishing are the biggest thing. If there is 1,000 yards of grass on the bank and there's one tree, that sucker's going to be on that tree. But if there's 100 trees and there's one tree with a grass patch on it, he's going to be on that tree. I mean, it's just a common denominator. It's every time it's irregularities, just looking at little things like that. So why not fish the tallest tree at all of them? Why not fish the one that's the furthest one out? It's just random little things like that. And kind of once you dial that in and kind of just see how the fish were positioned and where they were at, I mean, you just had to run with it.
How did you do that? Like, did you at practice just do a lot of side imaging work or how did you go about finding them live?
Once I found them, I actually was I was going to fish in the back of a pocket, and I'm throwing a Zoom swimmer on a belly weight, and I'm sitting there throwing it, and I'm paying on them. Man, there's some stumps, and I see two fish like sitting on top of them. I'm like, I throw over there and they don't even react, and I'm like, well, let me try a jerkbait. And I threw over there and they reacted, and so I was like, man, that could be a pattern. So I was like, let me go find some timber. And so I immediately left that pocket, went right around the corner, got in some timber, and started looking in it. And I'm like, okay, wow. I mean, the first patch I pulled into, they were in there. I mean, it could have been a fluke. I don't know what kind of weird deal it was, but right as I pulled in there, it was like 10th cast in there. I catch one, and I'm like, this could be a deal. So immediately after that, I just started running through timber stretches, kind of scanning and looking through them, trying to find out where the bait was, what areas had fish. In practice, I canceled a lot of water out. There was a lot of stretches where there was no fish, or there were no good trees for some reason. I'd sit there and I'd fish for them. I wouldn't catch anything for like 3 miles of the lake. Sometimes they were probably shallower, or they were probably deeper. They just weren't where I found them. And so then I'd go 300 yards further down the bank, and then they'd be there. Just all I did was just trying to find the areas where the fish were at, basically set up, and then just started running and practicing, expanding on it a little bit more.
Did you do any of that during the tournament? Like, once you got
Oh, gotcha.
like
I fished new
29
water every
pounds?
single day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it was a dominant win. I know BTC. Talk to me. What do you got for Patrick?
Oh, we got a couple things. So we've got some questions from YouTube. Tyler Graham on YouTube wants to know what kind of hooks you were using.
I was using the VMC hybrids a little bit. I was using some of the stock hooks on some of the other jerk baits. Mainly it was the hybrids, changed up through some different straight up just round bends. But I'd say mainly those.
Okay. Rich?
Yeah, I got a really interesting question here from Kyle Hines on the message board. He wants to know what your drag settings are on your reel when you're throwing a jerkbait.
I keep it a little bit tight, but not super tight, on kind of hook set. And then as I hook them and kind of bring them away, a lot of times I've noticed I've got I think it's a problem. I don't know if it is or not. I actually thumb the spool a lot of times on hook sets, and I only notice it when you lean into them and then you pull the hooks out, and I'm like, man, probably shouldn't thumb the spool too much, Patrick, but as I hook him and get him closer to the boat, I back it off just a little bit. So if he makes a hard run, it'll peel a little bit. But over time, what I've learned with treble hooks is you kind of got to hoss them a little more than you think you do. If that hook's going to pull out, it's going to pull out right out of the get-go usually. When he starts jumping and he starts playing around, I can't tell you how many times when I first was, just a year ago, I'd back that drag all the way off, or I'd free spool it. I do not free spool anymore. Absolutely not. I'm bringing that sucker in. I'm keeping them hooks tight because I don't know if you've ever caught a fish and tried to rehook them before. And the only reason I ever did this was we had a photo shoot one time, and I tried to re-penetrate it one time just for like a photo, and I could not get the hook in the fish's mouth. Like it was unreal. And I'm not saying do that. That's not a good thing to do, but it blew me away of how tough their bone was in their face. So a lot of times those hooks do not penetrate to the barb. So you've got to keep maximum pressure on them suckers and kind of bring them in. So I keep a loose drag if he makes a hard run to make sure the line doesn't pop or anything like that. But usually I try to keep it about halfway.
GDP, were you jerkbaiting at all in this tournament?
No, I basically cranked, man, between a 10XD, 6XD, and then a Demiki 300. All the fish I caught for the most part. I caught one punching.
Right.
Yep.
Well, very few people in this tournament were throwing a jerkbait. So
yeah, it makes perfect sense. And I agree with Patrick 100%. Like I'm the same way, man. I try to go as big as I can on the rod, just to try to overpower, that fish every single time. Lock the hooks.
Lock it up.
Yep.
The key is keeping pressure.
Correct.
I have to keep pressure on the fish. A lot of times they'll rehook themselves if you just keep the hooks pinned. Yep. And but man, it was you won by over 29 pounds. You set the record for the heaviest winning margin in the history of the Bassmaster Elites. Man, that's a mouthful, Patrick.
It still hasn't even set in. I don't even, it's hard to think about. I mean, because it was just every day I was worried about just that day. I forgot about yesterday. Who cares what happened? Who cares what I caught? I had to focus on the next day and catch whatever I thought I could catch. And that's why I didn't let off. I was going to try to catch them. And then I really wasn't even thinking about 100 pounds. I had absolutely no idea that was even possible until after day 3. I was like, oh man, wow. I mean, got a pretty good weight. I guess I could probably get to 100 if I go catch 18 more pounds. But yeah, that's why I was kind of confused. I mean, I never thought about it. Didn't try to, blow anything out. It was just went out there, just tried to catch every single fish that I could every single day. And then it just magically worked out. And that's kind of what happens. I mean, nobody was really doing what I was doing for some reason. I didn't have to share water with anybody. And I don't know why that was. I thought it was an obvious pattern. That's why, I mean, I was running main lake timber patches. It was kind of shocking. I don't know why.
Well, that had a lot to do with it, I guess, is because nobody else was running that pattern. That's a testament to you for figuring it out and crushing that field. And I watched an important fish catch for you, which it was pretty powerful to watch. But when you needed, I think it was like 310 or 311 or something to break the 100-pound mark, and you caught a 4 and change, man, that looked to me like that was a pretty big moment for you.
Because all day, I mean, it was like there was oil on the road, and them tires, they were close to slipping. I mean, traction control was kicking in. And because at 130, I had 11 pounds, and I had 25 plus spectators with me at the beginning of the day. And every hour, they just are kind of leaving away. And when I left my last spot at 130, I pulled into that pocket, and there was not a single boat that pulled in there with me. I pulled into that pocket alone, and I wasn't even worried about it. I said, you know what, I'm going to take a deep breath, give me something to drink. And I said, we're just going to go fishing. And, when everybody starts doubting you, that's when I get pretty fired up. I mean, because that's when I'm like, listen, we're going to keep the foot on the gas. And I'm like, it's going to happen. You have to tell yourself that. It only takes 5 casts. I promise you that. I don't care if it's at 2:58 and check-ins at 3. If you can make 5 casts in that time, it can happen. And so I knew it would take all day possibly. It took longer than I wanted it to, trust me, because I was starting to sweat. But it was all day. It was you could just feel everything was trying to go against you, and you were just fighting it as hard as you could. And then all of a sudden you pull in there and I catch a good one, and I'm like, okay, they're in here. The momentum. Davey got in the boat. We did a quick little interview. I stopped what I was doing, and that allowed me to take a deep breath and slow down. And I showed Davey. I said, Davey, I'm about to catch him. I said, Davey, this is what I'm looking at. I said, they're magically in this pocket. I don't know why. There was shad in the middle of it. Like you could see the fish swimming through the shad. There was bass on the stumps. I mean, it was like, I was like, Davey, they're in here. They're everywhere. I just got to catch them. There was 150 fish in this one pocket. I don't know. I mean, just pulled in the one pocket and they were in there. And, just all of a sudden when that momentum just kicked, I mean, I felt like you couldn't do wrong. I mean, I knew I was going to catch them. All of a sudden you just start setting the hook on them and you start catching them. I caught that 4-3. And then when I hooked that last one, I thought I was going to win that truck. I mean, it was the momentum was going that good. I mean, it doesn't happen often. And I hope it happens at least one more day in my entire life. But when things go like that, you got to ride it.
It was awesome. I forgot about that because you caught that 7-pounder soon after that. And it did. When it came across the screen, I'm like, I can't believe he's going to win the truck. This fish is huge.
That's what I'm saying. The momentum, I just caught past the 18-pound, caught that 4-pounder. And I mean, it was like, I was tearing up. I mean, the emotions were running. I achieved that 100-pound goal, what I set out to do. And I was just like, you couldn't make a bad cast. I saw the 2 fish over there. I could tell they were huge, threw in there. And I probably made 7 casts at them. They were swimming down the bank and I kept casting. And I finally turned him. And when it leaned into it, I couldn't even move. I mean, it was, don't get me fired up.
That's so awesome.
Your quote was, and this is a powerful moment for me. You said dreams can become reality, and you said that right when it happened.
100%. I'm telling you, you have to set goals and you got to dream. If you don't raise the bar high, you'll never get there. I mean, you got to set your goals high. You do. Last year, my goal coming in Elite Series was to win 2 Elite Series events. Is that completely outrageous? Absolutely. Was it going to happen? Probably not. But I like to set the bar high because that's what I'm shooting for every
10
single time.
times higher than what you want to achieve.
Absolutely. Because if I fall a little bit short, we're doing okay. You know, so I'd love to. You got to dream big. You do. If you don't, you got to have a big imagination, but you got to be humble about it, and you just got to work hard and do whatever you can to get there.
Well,
that's amazing.
I saw you celebrate, and especially when you broke the 100-pound mark. You kissed every fish, but you kissed that fish a lot.
What I didn't realize was afterwards how I stroked it.
Yeah,
I just stroked the bit. It's like I don't even remember doing that. Like that even when I look back, I was like, I don't even remember. Why would I do that? And I just I just laid with it. I'm surprised I'm still not laying out. Honestly, after we got done with that and I was riding back in, I was like, guys, we got to go back out there. They're in that pocket. I was like, somebody's got to get this boat. We got to go catch every dang fish that lives in there. I mean, it was the highest of highs. It truly was.
That's awesome.
And it happened. It really happened. And, congratulations again. And Riz, I want to, give them some more questions from the Bass University board.
I actually got something, Pete. So Pat, you talk about just not being able to do wrong and setting the bar high and just overachieving, right? The message board's absolutely lit up tonight, and a lot of people need to know. Pat, you have a beautiful wife and really short shorts.
This is a Brian
question. Hey, I found her in high school. We've been dating 10 years. I got lucky on that one. I got lucky. We've been dating for over 10 years before I married her. I got pretty lucky on that one. Trust me. That is definitely there is no cold tag needed on that one. She went on the big side. We didn't have to color her out.
That's right. And I hear you. I'm in the same boat. I out-kicked the coverage, or outran the coverage. But yeah, so was she pre or post short shorts?
She was post. I mean, I've been short since day one. Okay. I don't know if I just got longer legs or something. They're normal shorts, I swear. It's BFG bathing suits. I mean, them suckers are just comfortable. They feel good. Yeah. And if it's touching my knee, good God. I mean, that's the thing. I might go ahead and put jeans on or something. That's way too long. I mean, that is ridiculous. Touching your knee.
You remember the old school NBA players, the Wilt Chamberlain days? They were all rocking those shorts, boys.
No joke. Next year, I'm going to get everybody fired up because I'm going even shorter. If everybody's giving me a hard time about it, we're going to push barriers next year. We may not be able to wear jeans, and we're not going to be able to wear short shorts. They're going to have to put a 3-finger rule in there for next year. we're going to break some barriers.
I like it.
You're going to go Tommy Biffle on
us. Hanging brain.
Super short.
Yes. All right, Rich.
I would not change those shorts, man. Exactly. Go for it. Keep it going, man. You got the mojo.
Yeah.
Just let it fly. It's your signature move. AFCO needs to come out with a signature pair for you.
Somebody does. I'm telling you. I've only got 15 pairs of those shorts. It's the only thing I used to wear khakis, shorts, back in the day. No, straight those. We'll go out to a fine dinner or something, Emily and I, a steakhouse, and I'll be wearing one of those in a collared shirt. It's just that's what I'm wearing. I mean, I'll be sitting on the couch, eating some popcorn. Same thing. I mean, hey, when you can wear one pair of shorts that does it all, I mean, come on.
You're good.
I mean, what is this, an info model? I mean, I'm sold.
You got it, brother.
All right.
Riz, let's send it over to the board.
Dale Jr. wants to know, were there times where you needed to change colors on your jerkbait to keep the fish biting?
Absolutely. Every single day. Every day I would start out with that opaque color, like a shad white color. And then as that sun got up, I could probably throw that opaque one for about an hour and a half. And then as the sun got up, I would switch to the shinier colors. And I would kind of alternate baits, and then if it would slick calm, I'd go to more transparent and get away from the shiny, But if the sun was up and there was still a ripple, I'd throw the shiny color. You really had to let the fish kind of tell you what they would want, and that's why I had so many of them tied on, because I'd throw one in there and be like, oh, but they didn't even move at it, and then I throw another one and see what would happen. Or if he chased it out and didn't bite it, that's when I just kind of start playing with colors. But colors was definitely a thing a little bit. I think it was, at least.
Well, you did dominate the tournament, so we're going to say that that's a fact, and we hope you were on our radar to come and speak at Bass University this upcoming season, and now we definitely have to have you, Patrick. So
I'm probably there talking about dragging like a shaky head or something. They're like, what is he talking about? And he's like, why is he talking about dragging a Texas rig? I'm like,
Well, we'll get you hooked up, and we'll be in touch with that for sure. But I know we have a Bass University subscriber that we are going to zoom in here, and we're going to allow him to ask his question.
All right, here we go. Who do we have, Rich?
We have none other than Coach Prince from Prince Custom Lures. He's a subscriber to Bass UTV, always on the board. So now he's with us.
All right.
Coach Prince.
Coach Prince, what's going on?
What's up, guys?
Hey, man, appreciate you being part of the Bass University program, and man, it's awesome to have you here on the Zoom call.
It's awesome to be on it.
Where are you calling us from?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. All right. Well, our new studios. I don't know. People might not know this, but the new Bass University studios are moving to Lake Hartwell, South Carolina, within the next year. So we're going to come down into your neck of the woods. Well, it's awesome to have you here, Coach. What's your question for Patrick tonight?
Well, first of all, my question is not near as personal as Brian's was. I want to ask Patrick a Santee question.
Here we go.
I have always stunk at Santee when fish are locked on beds. A lot of times the bottom is dark. It's not bright spots. Sometimes there's bright spots, but a lot of times they're not spawning on bright spots. And it may be a lily pad field or dollar pad, whatever you want to call it. Give me some tips on how to search through that madness, that huge flats, or a way to find spawning fish better than, because I am awful at it.
My biggest tip that I can give you, and it took me a while to learn this, is one thing you always have to look at, no matter what you're going to look at, is water level. If that water drops 1/8 of an inch, don't even worry about fishing the lower lake, because they're going to swim 500 yards out there and they completely leave. I found them in a hatchery before. I think me and Dad, this is no lie, most fish I've ever seen on the bed. We marked 30 fish over 7 pounds on Friday. It was a couple of huge ones over. It was the most fish I've ever seen shallow. Went back there the next day, the water dropped that much. We caught 13 pounds. So the water level is the biggest thing you have to look for. And don't be afraid to kind of look for isolated pieces of structure a little bit further off the bank. Those big ones, they don't always push way up shallow where you can see them. But, kind of hop around. The upper lake is more consistent because its water does not fluctuate as much. But in the lower lake, you got to watch that water level. And if it rises a little bit, go ahead and count your eggs, because you can go down there and pick them off pretty good. But mainly, isolated pieces of structure, like I said earlier, irregularities is key, especially in lower lake. Staying back, making long casts with weightless like fluke stick, stuff like that, wacky worm, to patches of grass or isolated trees by themselves. But staying back, making long casts, and watching that water level is the biggest thing.
Thanks.
Great question. Great answer. Coach, I got to ask you a question. What prize would you like tonight?
I would love a camo hat.
All right.
You got it. Coming your way.
That's right.
Coming your way from Bass University, and I appreciate you being part of the program. And thanks for being on the IM board. And
I got a question
with us.
for Coach here. How's the football team doing this year?
We're in the first round of the playoffs this week.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. We lost a heartbreaker last week, but we're not too bad of shape.
All right.
What are we coaching, Coach?
Football. What else is there, Pete?
High school football, college football? You in the pros? Where do you,
Yep.
What's your high school?
I'm currently at Batesburg Leesville High School. It's a 2-town combined school.
Cool.
I got to tell you, it's when you think of like a football coach voice.
This is the one.
You hit the nail on the head. It's like to a T.
Not just that, the haircut, the whole thing.
Yep.
It's got it all.
You just need to put a lip in.
Well, you need to tell your boys, Coach, dreams can become reality.
There you go.
That's right.
That's it.
And
That's
wear short
it.
shorts.
Yeah.
With confidence. It's all about that swagger.
That's the biggest part.
It's the swagger.
Yeah.
He can wear whatever the hell he wants.
Yep.
And look for your new Bashu camo hat. It's coming your way. So get Riz all your information. And thanks for hanging out with us, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
That was great. I thought Coach was just like his handle, but he's legit
he's
coach.
Yeah, no, he's a real live high school football coach. He's Coach Prince. He actually, and it's so weird that growing up playing sports, like if I saw one of my high school coaches for anything right now, I would still call him Coach. I wouldn't call him Dave. I wouldn't call him John. I'd still call him Coach. So it's just creature habit. But he sent us some swim baits a while back, some soft plastic swim baits.
Yeah.
And,
Some nice swim baits.
Yeah, he's got a camo hat headed his way for sure.
Yeah, he sent some for you too, Pete, but you didn't get them.
Well, I didn't get any Tin Cup whiskey. I didn't get any swim baits.
It's all in the studio.
I didn't get it either.
Here's your shot tonight, Pete.
Look at this. Of things I didn't get, but
That's right.
But GDP, that was a great event. Patrick won it. Man, you got anything left on the table? You were in the tournament. What's on your mind that about Patrick's win and what he did or how he did it?
No, I think we're all the same, man. We're all impressed, Patrick, for real. I mean, the biggest part was prior to the show starting, we actually all talked about you being the only one doing what you did. What was the most impressive, honestly, truly. But
that's the one thing that kind of confused me about the whole thing is because I give you guys more credit than anybody out there. I mean, they're the best in the world. The elites, they always catch them.
Yep.
I mean, no matter where you go, everybody, we'll go out into Ontario and there's 5 guys on one little hump in the middle of nowhere. And you're like, how did everybody find these fish? They always find the fish at every single lake. And it was the weirdest thing. I'm telling you, I felt lost. I really did feel like I was missing the boat because nobody was around me. And that's something that you're used to because you're used to everybody dialing it in. And I think it was just kind of fluke luck this week that just kind of stumbled across it.
it was fate, man, for sure, 100%, 100 pounds.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's funny you say that because when you find yourself alone in a big tournament like this, you're either last place or you're going to have a chance to win. And it worked out in the positive for you. That was amazing.
Hey, I don't know if this was covered earlier. Jeremy Woodell on.
Yeah, Suffolk was a big player, and man, that was great, man. Patrick, it was awesome. What's next for you? Are you what a way to end the season, man. Oh my gosh.
True. We got actually one more tournament. I have the last Eastern Open on Lay Lake in Alabama. It's the first weekend in December. To tell you the truth, I'm excited about it. December is probably my favorite month to bass fish because nobody's out there. They bite good baits. They bite a jig. They bite cranking. They're spinner baits. Talk about an A-rig bite though, but we can't throw that. So, but that is my favorite time to fish, and I've never fished a multi-day tournament in there. So I'm actually excited to fish that one. That's the first weekend of December. But actually, Emma's going to kill me for this one. I don't know if it's next week. I think it's 2 weekends from now. It's our anniversary. We're going to the mountains for a mountain trip. It's on the 22nd. So that's what's next. We got Thanksgiving. fishing that tournament beginning of December and get ready for next year.
That's awesome. What mountains are you going to?
We're just going to North Carolina, kind of go to Biltmore, kind of just West North Carolina.
Mount
over there.
Fuji.
Where'd you go when you got married for your honeymoon?
Oh, actually, this is definitely where we were different. We went to Banff, Canada. We went to Lake Louise. And I mean, that sucker is like, if we were to drive it, it was like 36 hours. I mean, it was almost in British Columbia. We went into British Columbia for a day.
And it was like freezing, right?
Oh, cool.
It was like 13 degrees every single day. The snow was so weird. Like we've gone snow skiing as kids growing up, and you could always make a snowball. This snow was so dry and so, I guess there was no humidity in the air. You couldn't make a snowball. It was all powder. Yeah. Like you'd form it in your hand and it would just fall apart. And that was actually the first time at Lake Louise I ever walked on a frozen lake. So knocking it out one at a time. Wow. But it was definitely different. It was cold, but it was kind of enjoyable, Got to stay in the hotel room a little bit.
No doubt.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Screw that snow.
Yeah.
Literally.
I was thinking Emily might be a little jealous after when she saw what you did to that 100-pound bass she caught.
Yeah, she might have been a little jealous of that. She actually said, she's like, if he wins this tournament, I'm not kissing him. She still ended up kissing me, but it paid off. She's like, I'm not kissing that fish.
Had to get some Listerine in you first.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, you've like triple qualified for the Classic coming up. That's pretty amazing.
I mean, it's hard to even think about it. You get lucky in certain years and you have good seasons and you roll with it. That's why I love to fish the opens. I fish the opens to stay busy and fish as much as possible because I can't fish anything at home anymore, any local tournaments. And so I feel like you always have to stay in tune with the fish. And that's why I fish the opens. And we were thankfully lucky enough this year to win an open and qualify in the points this year and then to end up win Texas Fest, which qualified you. So it was a good year.
Yeah, your people are going to, how many people, you're letting all these extra people into the Classic or, they're going down the list because of you. I hope you get some steaks for the holidays, maybe.
I'll be waiting at the mailbox, so we'll see what happens. I don't think anything's coming, but I'll be sitting there waiting.
Well, we'll be watching and rooting for you at the Classic, and it was really it was an amazing win, obviously, but it was a lot of fun to watch it. You're mature beyond your years, and you communicate extremely well, and you did it tonight, and gave us some amazing Bass University content, and we greatly appreciate that. And like I said, we're going to be reaching out to you. Hopefully we can have you doing one of our Bass University classes here in 2021. So we'll see if we can get that worked out. But it was amazing. Thank you so much. I wish you best of luck the rest of the season. And man, Texas Fest champ, Patrick Walters. Thank you, buddy.
Sir.
Thank you, guys. I greatly appreciate it. I'm always happy to be here. I look forward to doing the seminar with you guys. It's been a great season. Thanks to everybody. Thank you to you guys.
Keep it high and tight, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You know it.
High and tight.
Tuck it in, baby.
Keep it short. Thank you very much, Patrick. The great Patrick Walters, the champ.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. Man, what an amazing win. What a tremendous accomplishment to break 100 pounds and to dominate the field like that. That has never been done before, GDP. It's never been done before. That big of a margin. Whew, that's. I think it's opening a lot of people's eyes to what's happening with technology and what's coming. Because there's a lot of there's new stuff coming all the time.
There's stuff in saltwater that I know about that would just blow your mind.
What?
Yes. I know a guy that's real heavy into that kind of stuff with saltwater. I'm talking about $100,000 just for a unit. But it like traces where the fish are going. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you don't have it at that level, you're out. It's the same thing in bass fishing. It's whatever is next best, you gotta have it.
It's interesting because I was listening to Clark Wendell talk about this, and we had Randy Blaukett talking about this. Is this technology? Is it impacting the sport in a negative way? Is it positive? Is it negative? Clark seemed to be of the opinion that he liked. He's not sure about it, but he embraced it. He's like, if this is allowed, I got to embrace it, got to learn it, got to learn new technology and get good at it. And, and he won the AOI with it. So how do you feel about it, GDP? I mean, is the new technology, is it a good thing for the sport, or is it taking the magic out of the sport?
No, you know what? I think it's a good thing for the sport. I still think it's going to be 5-10 years from now before the average person can just pick up and do the same thing we're doing. That's the difference. You know what I mean? At our level, you have to learn it or you will be behind, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we have to learn it. A lot of guys, I think, are just unconfident on using their stuff even today. Everybody buys these big bass boats, all this big electronics, and, honestly, they don't know how to use them. So, I don't know. There's guys at the Elite Series level, too, that are just straight up shallow water hammers. They don't need to use them, I guess. They just get locked into one thing, they catch them, or they don't. But if you want to be well-rounded and do like kind of what Patrick did or some of the other guys did this year, dude, you got to learn it all. You have to. And especially, for a guy like myself, I don't have the experience on these lakes, so I rely on my electronics, basically, to find everything.
Yep.
So
I'm a fan, honestly. Of course, I'm using the Mega 360 now. I'm looking at that stuff for the first time this year, and it's eye-opening. It's helping me become a better angler. But it's not as easy as plug and play. Like, you turn it on, and you have to learn how to interpret what's happening around the boat.
Exactly.
You got to know what you're looking at.
Me and Riz were just talking about this prior to the show. 360 took me a full solid year to be fully understanding not only just the settings, but just understanding the actual accuracy of my cast, to what I'm looking at, my positioning. All that stuff comes into play. When I pulled into the first spot day one of this tournament, I saw every single fish before I even threw a cast to it. I could see them all set up, how they were set up, where my angle had to be in my cast, and then from there I just I caught what I caught, and I completely laid off the fish. If they moved to where I was kind of blatantly casting at, I would stop casting to them fish because I didn't want to catch anymore, and I'd cast over here because of my 360.
Yep. It's a powerful tool. I'm learning how to orient my boat with what my image is telling me. I'm getting better, more and more proficient at hitting the habitat quicker. Now, and it's been amazing. But that's with every piece of technology. You gotta learn how to benefit from it. It's not as easy as you get it, and all of a sudden you're going to be able to go out and catch 100 pounds on Lake Fork when nobody else can. You
put the time in, just like at every single aspect of fishing. It's all about the time you put into learning it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll never forget this. When I was young. I mean, not young. I was probably late teens, early 20s, and it's back when all I used to do was saltwater fish, and I was fishing with one of my cousins in Florida, who's just an outstanding saltwater angler. And to that point, I never really knew much about electronics, and I was like, "Do you really need that?" I was kind of downplaying him, and he looked at me very seriously and said, "When you learn how to fully utilize your electronics and your fish finding technology, that's the moment that you become a better fisherman than the average angler."
No doubt.
And when he said that, it really stuck with me, and so I've always, at my very novice level, taken a pride in saying that, if you learn these electronics, you're gonna benefit from it. And it's great that Humminbird, the company that we work with, they truly are. I think they're the easiest, most user-friendly electronics to be able to put on your boat, learn them, learn how to operate them, adjust them, really maximize them to help you catch more fish. It's plain and simple.
Yep. By the way, I know we mentioned earlier in the show, but we just dropped Greg DePalma's Mega 360 seminar on Bass U TV for all you subscribers. You can make sure you got to go and check that out. And man, let's talk about the flats a little bit, guys. We talked about Lake Fork. I know you guys might. We had a 9.7 pound largemouth that was caught in a tournament that Riz and I fished together on Saturday this weekend on the Chesapeake. DDP, its pectoral fins were as big as my hand. It was it was huge, man. It was just the biggest fish, and it's so amazing that we live in a place so close that has fish of this magnitude.
Yeah, I was there when John Venor caught that 10-2 or whatever it was, a couple years back. The real question is how many of them are actually swimming around down there?
It's a great question, and we have herring, we have shad runs, we have all these bait fish, and the stripers. We have a big striper population where we live and fish, and I think these big bass are often out in amongst those fish, because you hear about the big 8-pounders caught by the striper fishermen. I think they're offshore, they're nomads. I think a lot of times they're out and about, and I think there's a lot more out there than we'll ever catch, but there's a ton of them out there, and it's fun to see. And I was, it was a lot of fun. Me and Riz got to spend a day together, and we battled. We had our ebbs and flows. We had a few mishaps, and recovered nicely. Dealt with some unreasonable angling company nearby us.
Was that your first tournament together?
Yeah, it was the first tournament that Pete and I fished together.
Wow.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction real quick.
First of many, I hope.
Prediction or tournaments?
Tournaments.
Oh.
And predictions.
My prediction is I think the next Maryland State record is going to come out the Bay.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Snagged or not, whatever happens.
I mean, this year, it doesn't surprise me that a 9.7 got caught this year. Just like
there was a handful of them.
How ridiculous the fishing was on the Chesapeake Bay this year.
So many giants.
Like summertime fishing, like around Mike's tournament, like you come in with 20, and it's like, good job, you came in 17th place.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like
also place.
Nuts. Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
And it's still taking over 20 pounds every week right now.
It's stupid.
My buddy's connected with some of the netters down there on the bay, which we have a lot. They're netting perch and various fishes for sale and stuff, and they catch largemouth in their nets from time to time. How many 10-pounders they net will blow your hair back.
For real?
In the bay?
Yep, in the bay.
No way.
What do they taste like?
Chicken.
Yeah. Eat them things.
Yeah. Well, legally, they're obviously not allowed to keep them or eat them, but who knows what happens? But I doubt, they.
I'll send pics.
But they catch giants. They catch giants amongst the perch in the places where they net for them, which is well offshore. What we need to do is plant some standing timber like exists down at Lake Fork.
Yeah.
So bass have a place to ambush. We need to put some of them cane piles up, like JK did out there. Wow. Come on, GDP, you should be dialed in on this already.
I'm already on
it. I know. I remember. Who's the buddy you just fished a tournament with? Thompson.
Joe Thompson.
Yeah, he would plant some brush out there. I heard he planted some stuff. I heard some other guys did, like Jacob Prosnick, and
I've never fished any of it.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But I want to give a shout out to Riz. I got to fish with him. It was a great experience for me. I enjoyed it a lot. Riz is a excellent angler and really great to have in the boat. Just really cool. You handled all the culling for us, which was great.
You guys had a good bag.
And I didn't mention this to you, but like culling is a tricky thing for people that haven't spent a lot of time culling. And, I always keep an eye, if my partner's culling, I got to keep an eye on them and make sure that they are going through a good process to be able to get to the fish that they need to let go. And did a great job handling that efficiently, using obviously all of our TH cull systems and G-Juice, and he was on top of all of that, making it super easy for me to manage the boat, position, control us. It was really cool, and caught the biggest fish of the day for us as well. So shout out to Riz.
Good job, dude.
Nicely done.
No, we didn't have lunker because
no,
there was
9.7 was
lunker,
dude.
Did you get lunker?
Maybe if the 9.7 didn't come in, it wasn't lunker. But Pete, you made it easy for me, man. You put us around the fish, and like I said, it's nice co-angling with somebody that you know is going to put you around them, and all you got to think about is making the cast and catching the fish. And I mean, Pete was wearing them out. I don't think I had a bite until 11, somewhere 11. But there was like a change in the day where things compressed, and so here's a little BU tidbit that kind of was a turning point for us in the day. Really, like Pete you saw like bubbles and a dust cloud on the bank, and he casted to it and caught a fish. And after he caught the fish, he told me, he's like, yeah, I saw a bunch of bubbles up there and a dust cloud, and I casted over to it and I caught that fish. And I did that because when I was with KVD told me you always cast at turtles because it causes an interference on the bottom and it stirs the critters up. It gets the life cycle going. And so when he said that to me, my thought process went to, well, he saw bubbles, a dust cloud, and commotion. I was like, well, that was probably a fish rooting around in there eating crawfish, right?
Boom.
And so as soon as I thought that, I locked a jig in my hand for the next, I don't know, for a while, and didn't get a bite right away. But when I did, it was the big one. It was like a 5.
9.6.
It wasn't a 9.6, but it was a big one, and it was cool doing being in a team tournament for a scenario like that because Pete caught a fish. He identified something unique about how he caught that fish, and that triggered something for me to do that we made a connection, and then
good teamwork.
Yeah, it really worked out. So it was great fishing with you, Pete. You put us around them. When you're around fish, it can get pretty easy to catch
awesome.
them. It seems like.
Yeah.
It was good, and what a great comment, because I had been fishing. I've been doing this 30 years. Nobody had ever told me that you need to throw at turtles. I'm out in Michigan with Kevin Van Dam, and he sees the turtle pop up and he starts firing over towards it like you got to throw at the turtles. And he explains this, procedure that they rummage around, they stir up the fish, and the big bass will often follow them. And how many big bass he's caught over the years firing around turtles. And that was mind blowing for me, because I'm like, I never fished with anybody that knew that little tidbit of knowledge. And what I experienced with Riz was I saw the bubbles come up, and I'm like, that's got to be a turtle. That's got to be something rooting down there. And I threw at it and caught my biggest fish of the day around those bubbles. And it was crazy. It was good. It was a lot of fun. Good times. Really amazing. Congratulations to the guys who I can't remember their names right now, but man, what an amazing bag. 24 pounds, 9.7 pound lunker. Oh my gosh, that's super huge.
I have one experience fishing a tournament with Pete.
With turtles?
Yeah. No turtles. Right, Pete?
Right. We fished on the Delaware.
Yeah. Except for I had to take Pete to the fish.
Oh.
He did.
In that one.
Yes,
yeah.
Brian absolutely did. We went to the areas that I, expected to catch them, and we didn't. And Brian, suggested this area that,
Go ahead, Brian.
I'm like, all right, let's go try it. We still got enough tide. We can, if it doesn't work out, we'll be all right. We'll survive. I didn't know that I was going to have to take my life into my hands going to this spot.
Hey, it's a Delaware for you. And I believe I'm still the only person who's ever eaten sushi on your boat.
No, he brings sushi with no ice in the cooler.
Who does that?
With no ice in the cooler. Well, I ate it early in the no wake zone, so we're all right.
So
dude,
Pete,
I'm still.
I got a question for you. Do you think that fish you broke off?
I know where you're at.
So in the tournament, Pete broke off a fish, and it was the first bite of the day. And I just want to know from Pete, do you think that was more like in the 8 to 9 pound class, or the 10 to 12 pound class?
Well, first, I'd like to say I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah.
That big?
Yeah. No, it was big. I took Rich to a place that I occasionally catch a big fish.
Oh yeah, I know the spot.
And we and when you get a bite there, you got to treat it with respect. But it's my own mistake. I wasn't prepared.
Crankbait?
It was on a jig.
Oh.
And I bowed up my casting, and I I was totally prepared for the bite. I expected it where I got it. I got it, and I hit the fish hard. But what I didn't do was retie the jig that I had been using on the last 3 guide trips.
Ooh.
Because
you changed every treble hook on your crankbait.
I had boxes of treble hook crankbaits and jerk baits and everything that I wanted to throw that day, but I just didn't have enough time to do all the stuff that I normally would like to do, and that's my mistake. It's not an excuse. I blew it, but I didn't retie, but I broke off a big fish early, and I'm sure it was like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pounds.
What was your small fish?
Probably like
3 pounds, probably.
How much you lose by?
3.
Like
5.
6.5 pounds.
So you needed a giant.
Yeah.
It was like
Nah, there's no way.
Yeah.
We don't win. Even if it's a 6, 7 pounder,
Here's the thing,
we don't
though,
win.
Pete. Like, if you say you catch that fish, right, and it's a big one, and we go chasing a pattern that may not develop, you know what I mean? Like, you catch that fish, and the pattern we ended up executing wasn't the same pattern, as what that big fish came off of. It was a similar bait, but the habitat was very different.
I know that spot.
You definitely do. but you know, like,
nah, that spot doesn't lead you on a pattern. That's a single solitary spot. Pete, you screwed up.
Yeah, it's a junk spot.
Retie your line. You're a veteran.
I don't know. Sometimes
guilty. Guilty.
Stuff just happens.
Guilty.
And maybe it's the way.
But
I know you're trying to be nice and let him off the hook.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Dude, I take full responsibility for it, man. You got to prepare. You got to do it. Like I prepared. Like I had a limited amount of time, and I decided to do the thing that I thought we were going to do all of our damage on.
Treble hooks.
And I had treble hooks, and I opted. I had to cut what I didn't have time to do at that particular night for personal reasons, and
that's where you had to come in on that one.
What's that?
Retie his jig. Did everything else.
Yeah,
I mean
that's right. A good partner would have tied that in the no wake zone while we were idling out.
Well, I would have and still been eating sushi. So, whatever.
You would have missed the loop on the knot.
That's a fact. These eyes miss some loops, man. These old ass worthless eyes. Speaking of these eyes, I'm going to try to read a trivia question from Ken Duke. You ready for that?
What have we got tonight? Yes.
All right, we got a couple good ones, man. Let me check and see. Hold on. Okay. Patrick Walters' margin of victory was 29 pounds, 10 ounces, the biggest in elite history. Who had the largest margin of victory before that?
That's a good question.
Rich, you got the answer?
Yep.
Okay. Pete, you're not allowed to win?
I'm thinking of answers, though.
We got any hints? I mean, was the guy okay? Was the last biggest?
He's still competing.
Oh, okay, was it a long time ago or recently? Do you know that answer?
In this century.
Thanks.
Well, you got 20 years.
Now, it's a long time.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, maybe you're older than me, but.
By the way, Pat Walters was born 4 years after I graduated high school. I forgot that fact when we introed him.
Was he 25?
I don't know.
Oh,
whatever the hell he is.
Bro.
What was it? Is this 95. The Elite Series only, or is this Bassmasters in general, or what's the question again?
Patrick Walters' margin of victory was 29 pounds, 10 ounces, the biggest in Bassmaster Elite history.
Elite.
What?
Okay.
Who had the largest margin of victory
before that?
I know the answer.
Uh-huh.
I think I know the answer.
How are they doing on the message board there, Rich?
We have not got it yet.
Don't give the answer away till I have a chance to guess. I think I know the answer. By the way, do you know who has the largest margin of victory in the FLW Toyota Series history?
By the way you're saying it.
Pete Luzik.
I did it one time, but it was like 18. It was 18 pounds, which is a good.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Pete is a master of Pete Luzik trivia. In case anybody didn't know. Pete's on top of that.
Why aren't my people on top of that, BTC?
You are your people.
People aren't retying my knots. They're not helping me with my trivia. Come on.
my gosh.
So, Greg, what do you got over there? Big giant crankbaits?
I got a 10XD, a 6XD, and a Damiki.
Let's talk about that 10XD.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's a big ass plug.
Yeah, it's pretty big, man. And this kind of goes into literally the same thing Patrick said about the jerkbait digging.
Yeah,
that's the same thing you want to do. Like the 6XD and this thing in the 8XD, dude, I dig them so hard, reel them so fast. It's like to the point where it hurts my arm.
I believe that.
It really is. It's a great way to catch them. The second day of the event when I weighed 16, like you didn't probably see me a lot on live because I was idling for hours.
Is that right?
Looking for fish.
Okay.
Just sitting there idling around. It got to the point where if I saw an individual fish, I caught every individual fish I saw.
On the plug?
10XD.
Really?
It was like I'd waypoint that one individual fish wherever it was set up at. I'd line up on it. I'd throw my first cast. I caught it every time I tried.
Wow.
Really?
Yep.
So what was your idling speed when you were scanning?
When you're literally scanning, like you're looking hardcore, you want to idle just in gear.
Okay.
You don't want to be fast.
Okay.
Yep.
You lose detail.
What's that?
You lose the detail.
Yeah,
if
you start to lose that. You don't get. I mean, you can speed stuff up.
What do you like? 3 mile an hour?
Yeah, it's probably about that. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know the actual mile an hour, but it's always just in gear. When I'm out graphing in the lake and I'm looking for a tournament fish, I'm just in gear, looking, scanning.
See, Ike and Ellie doesn't use a hot foot in his boat. None of Ike's boats have a hot foot.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Yeah, because he's so used to graphing and scanning with standing up, visually looking, plus his graphs, and using the hand throttle. It's weird.
It is weird.
Old school.
Well, it's really cool because you can miss it a lot of times when you have to idle fast and you want to look, and you got to be sitting in the seat to do it. It's a unique advantage that he has made for himself that way.
I'd rather have the hot foot and be able to hold a drink in my hand.
Yeah, just sit there.
That's right.
Start your graphs.
I love it. We still don't have a winner. I can't believe it.
Yep. I have not seen it yet.
We should do.
Speaking of the hot foot, like one of the things that I do in the summertime is I try to stand up as much as I can so that I can see the grass around me on the flat and also see my screen. But like I extend my leg out as far as I can, obviously, and I use the little tow bar that comes out on the hot foot, like that you would use to bring the throttle back in the event that your spring breaks, like mine did a few weeks ago. But so I put my toe on that little bar so that I can get just a little bit of extra height, be able to see what's going on, and kind of just keep my knee right on the seat,
That reminds me, I could probably do a pretty good video for you guys on like actually how to key in on your waypoint and set yourself up to throw that cast, because I don't think the average person understands it.
No.
How to really do it.
No.
Make a good video. I can show you the way I do it.
Yeah. Actually, I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I struggle
really
with
hard.
that.
Everybody does, Brian. It's like you set your waypoint, you find it, you mark it. It's pretty easy to do.
Yep.
When you've got mega imaging, side imaging, you can nail it. But then when you put your trolling motor in the water and you actually have to make that bait hit the target, it takes a little while to develop enough confidence to be able to do it every time.
Yeah, my marshals.
And I'm interested in
one guy got a free seminar the whole day. He goes, I can't believe this. Yep.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it, because you know what we did do just this past week, guys, and it's coming. Hold on for a second, Riz. We filmed with Brian Thrift, and we spent 2 days filming a lot of teaching and instruction with him. But one of the number one things we filmed with him was exactly his process on how to do that thing, how to identify isolated habitat and hit it with your cast. It's tricky to do. Do you have an answer, Riz?
We do. The winner
let me guess.
Matt G. Well, go ahead, Pete.
Matt G. It's Skeet Reese.
No.
On Smith Mountain Lake on a swim bait.
That's
no.
not true.
Who was it? What's the answer?
The answer is Mike McClelland.
Oh, yeah. I never got that one.
Grand Lake, 2006.
Really?
No kidding. Wow.
I believe so.
Good for you, Mike.
Dude,
Heaviest winning margin and the most limits caught, most consecutive limits caught, courtesy of Ken Duke, the Swami.
The first answer
Keeper
that
of the
popped in
Scrolls.
my head was Dean Rojas.
Aha.
Because remember that they had that, 4 days or whatever, we had that crazy big bags every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Mike McClellan
Well, the
in
problem-
2006 on Grand Lake had a 15.9, 15-pound, 9-ounce margin of victory.
Yeah, Patrick Smith.
Whoa. Wait a minute. 15 pounds was the previous margin,
That's correct.
and it's now almost 30
That's
with
right.
this win? Good Lord. That's like absolutely blowing it out of the water. That's
Yes, it
total
is.
domination.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's why you weren't on live much, because you were scanning all day?
Yep. Yep.
I thought maybe it was because they blamed you for the election results because you're from the Northeast.
Could have been that too. One of my sponsors asked me, he goes, "How's fishing today?" I said it was tough. I only caught one. He said, "I'm not getting political. Never mind."
Neither am I. It was just jokes.
Okay, forget it.
Onward. Back to you, Richard.
Yeah, so congratulations, Matt G. You won the grand prize. That's a Flambeau box that's loaded with Rapala jerkbaits, all different colors, sizes, shallow and deep. Congratulations. That pack is valued at over $100. So you got a bunch of jerkbaits headed your way, brother. And we also have a Facebook like and share tonight. We're actually at 92 shares right now. So the prize was going to be 4 Rod Warrior rod sleeves. If we can bounce that up to
100,000.
100,000. Let's just get it to 100. If we can get that to 100 before the end of the show, we're going to throw in a Bash University hat and a T-shirt into that deal. So, guys, if you haven't liked and shared tonight's feed, make sure you head over there and do that. Get yourself a chance to win an awesome prize pack. And also, if you're not a member of the Bash University TV program, right now is the time. Normally, Bash U TV is $149 a year. Right now, it's $99 a year. We're saving you $50 for over 700 of the best bass fishing videos on the web. Head over there, get signed up, join the program, catch more big bass. And I see Mr. Justin Kimmel on the Zoom screen.
JK is coming into us from the All-American, and we didn't think we were going to get you, but we're awful glad to have you tonight. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. Thank you guys for having me on. I've been listening to the show. As with seemingly every tournament this year, there's something that steals a couple hours of my time. I've got 2 rods rigged up right now. Still have a bag to pack, but I am refusing to, let the time get at me. I'm going to keep a little Gerald Swindle PMA going and just, catch up and get my rods rigged up tonight. Anyways.
What happened, JK? What happened to you? What you had a breakdown or what? You had some trouble out there?
No, I just I don't want to. I will literally waste this whole segment if I start on. We'll catch up, but literally just one thing leads to the next, and I look down and it's 7:00, and it's like, I'm not even back to my place yet, and but what I've been doing is trying to gather. I guess what I wanted to talk about was tournament prep. This was kind of the whole theme of the night, right? The top 5 tournament preparation. And what I had listened to on the way down here was a Bash U live show that I had remembered that just some things that I wanted to hear about. There's some Lake Hartwell. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want my competition to go. But I did not gather a lot of information. We get one official day in practice. I really don't have a lot of information. And so kind of the theme of the night goes right around something Pete has said. And I think he's actually said it in a seminar, but he said it again on this one live show that I was listening back to. Because I'm here at the All-American, man. I want to win. We all do. as a co-angler, there's a lot of different circumstances. But Pete said something, and he said this to me multiple times, so I don't think I'll ever forget it. But on the show, it triggered, and he said, when I turned and looked back at my results, this is Pete speaking, I kind of found out what kind of fisherman, tournament fisherman I really am. And it kind of surprises you because it might not be your favorite techniques or anything like that, but you go and analyze your results and your winning results. And that's kind of the bite that you try to chase. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pete, but I know that you were kind of doing that at the Potomac this year when you hit that Toyota Series event and did really well.
No, it's like I didn't realize I was a flipper. I found out that when I did well in tournaments, that almost every time flipping was involved in me doing well. And I didn't realize that about myself until I analyzed the results. And that was an epiphany for me. So I look for that bite to happen for me in big tournaments. And, so I highly recommend everybody go back and look at the results and how they got there. It'll really help you.
Yeah. So basically I'll let everybody in with what's the top 5. So I have actually 5 BFL wins to look back on in this BFL setting as they're all co-angler wins. And Pete, I'm gonna list out what I actually won them on, and then I'm gonna let you tell me, okay, Justin, what kind of fisherman are you? What do you need to go chase out there right now? Because it's fall. There's tons of things happening. There's bait fish going on. There's and by no means am I trying to get information. It's just a fun little way to kind of what I'm analyzing. I'm legitimately about to rig 4 or 5 more rods up, but so here goes. One of them I won on a jig. One of them I won on a drop shot. One of them I won on a Texas rig. One of them I won on a jerkbait. And another one I won on a jerkbait. And the one that I give credit to for the drop shot, it was a 3-day event where a jig produced a kicker and a jerkbait produced a kicker. So there you have it. That's my top 5. I'm completely immersed in thinking about this tournament. And I took a good solid look back, and I'm glad I did it. It's kind of settled me down with not a lot of clues out there right now.
It's interesting, and I'm looking at this, and I think it's a great exercise that you're doing, and you're knee deep in the middle of a tournament, and you're trying to simplify, and it can get really complicated. And anybody that's been in a tournament scenario, and you're trying to decipher weather patterns and what your draw is going to be, and all the things that you've got to try to manage as a co. And but to look at the wins, and I'd like to advise you, you got to look at the top 10s, not just the wins, but you got to look at the other stuff too, because wins are also often an anomaly. It cannot necessarily be the best information, but you want to look at the top 10s. But I'm looking at this, and I see a jerkbait coming up. I see a jerkbait just won. Jerkbait is a powerful tool in the fall, and obviously, that's something that when they bite it, you do well. So you want to look for that bite, and the other ones are, you got a Texas rig and a jig, which are both drop baits, along with the drop shot. But the jig and the Texas rig differentiate themselves. I almost group them in the same category.
I might be a dragger, Pete. I didn't realize it, but I might be somewhat of a dragger.
Well, those two tools, between a flipping tool and a jerkbait, I think those are excellent tools for you to be rigging tonight. Yeah. And you're still practicing, right?
No, we had 1 day of practice. Tomorrow's the deal.
Tomorrow's Derby day.
Back tomorrow. That's right.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. One day of practice.
Talk to me about you. Who's your partner? What are you doing? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I know what we're doing, and I won't go too into detail, but we will be. It's a great co-angler draw. I feel like we are around fish. We saw that today. We're fishing off the bank a little bit, and we're coming in and fishing the bank. So he's fishing a little. He's got a little inside-outside game going. He's a great young fisherman. He's 23 years old. This is his second All-American. He's qualified through the Federation, and he is from the same hometown as Brandon Polinick out in Idaho. His name's Lauren Torok, and he is. I mean, he's just. You can tell the kid's got it. He's going to be a great angler. He's proven that already, and he's seeing Hartwell for the first time. So he's got a couple good spots, like just that cast. He's got a couple of good just areas, I guess you could call it. And then he discovered a little pattern today, and so I anticipate we're gonna try both. But what we have is this tropical system's gonna come and just sit on us tomorrow. So I'm gonna keep an open mind tomorrow and just try to fish the moment. Probably throw another Bass UTV seminar on while I finish, rigging, and that's kind of a ritual for me when I just need to settle in and really try to focus my energy somewhere. I just throw a seminar on and get to rigging, and you'll hear something that really kind of comes to you. And I've talked about it before. It's really come through for me, but yeah, we're going to just try and let it come to us and not get too focused on any one thing until they start telling me,
Are any of the patterns you're going to fish tomorrow, do they apply to the strengths that you just listed first?
I could say all of those techniques that I listed can play a part, except for maybe the Texas rig. But I need to maybe think that Texas rig can be replaced with like a Carolina rig or a shaky head, just from a dragging standpoint, as far as having something on the bottom. I'm still going with the, School of Mike Iaconelli approach from that one seminar about just the top, middle, bottom, and making sure that I'm ready for it all. Just because you got, I think we're going to have 1.5 inches of rain tomorrow. Sit on us with not much wind, actually, supposedly, and it's going to be different than what we saw today. The lake's come down 2 feet in the last week, back down to full pool, and it could go up tomorrow and it could go up the next day. We won't really know.
Interesting. Well,
I think a drop shot jig and a jerk bait are probably something that I need to tie all of them on.
That's the simplest approach.
Top, middle, bottom. JK, after you won your BFL last year and won your second boat, I remember we talked on the phone after that tournament, and you put so much emphasis on watching that seminar from Mike because you had no time to practice, and you put so much emphasis in the top, middle, bottom, and how much of a factor that was for you in being prepared for all three of those scenarios. So it sounds to me like your head's on the right track, like that was your thought process last year, and it seems to be working again. The message board is actually lighting up on your winning baits, and the message board is saying 2 jerk baits, a Texas rig, and a jig, and just call it a day.
Call it a day.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
That sounds good. But yeah,
got it covered.
The BFL All-American, I can't speak enough about this tournament. I'm very fortunate to this being my second one, and I know how hard, I respect how hard it is to get here. I've missed qualifying by one fish multiple times at regionals. One time I missed qualifying by 1 place and 1 ounce. So it's just an absolute treat to be here. I don't think, what these guys are doing with the organization who's running the BFL here. I guess this is Major League Fishing now. They are, they treat us so well. You know, it's all the same
awesome.
people, and that they treat us like royalty. I show up and they hand me a check for my gas, you know,
Wow.
for mileage. You know, that's what you get when you first get there at registration. I got a bag of goodies. They gave me a big, huge thing of G juice and a brand new culling system from TH Marine. So, I mean, that's
awesome.
they're just spoiling us. And, man, it's just a privilege to be here. And I'm going to do my best, man. Try to wear this Bash U hat proud. And we're going to have to figure them out on the go. You know, this is not going to be, there's just no confidence right in like, oh, I'm going to catch them on this. You know, it's just not one of those tournaments for me.
No, well, you know, it's going to develop for you as it always does during the tournament. And that's, you know, you've got a good mind for competing in this realm, you know, and it's great because a lot of other people do too. A lot of people that subscribe to Bash U TV, a lot of people watching their co's, you know, they're partners in the tournament and they're trying to do what you're doing. And, you know, it's a tricky thing and you're really good at it. And, you know, just have confidence in that. You know, you have won here before, let it develop, let it happen and adjust to the conditions. You've identified your strengths, look for those opportunities if they present themselves and take advantage of it, you know, and it's, you know, we're all pulling for you. I mean, it's awesome that you're here tonight. I didn't realize tomorrow was the first day of competition. You know, we wouldn't have even asked you to be on the show, but I'm glad you made it.
Oh, I wanted to be, man. I tuned into Patrick Walters' interview on my way back. I mean, that guy's amazing. You know, that interview was great. Brian, I'm really glad you asked my short shorts question and took the heat for that. You know, that was just great.
That was
and
everybody's question, Justin.
Yeah.
The world wanted to know. Yeah, jerk baits, bass. Yeah, whatever.
I
love that girl with them shorts.
Yeah,
that's the real.
I loved how he doubled down on it. He's cutting them 3 inches shorter next year. I love it. Good for you, Patrick. That's great stuff, and man, we wish you all the best. We're all going to be pulling for you. And I just got a package or an envelope in the mail from MLF. I couldn't believe it. I opened it up, and it was the BFL, well, the former BFL and Toyota Series tournament trail under the MLF logo.
Oh yeah.
JK, we got a question for you from the message board before we let you go here. RD Fishing on the board wants to know from you. He is fishing as a BFL co-angler this year for the first time. What is the best piece of advice that you could give him for starting out?
Throw a Senko.
Well, yeah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I'm going to take
Senko
this
on this
back
list.
to, since it's kind of a broad question, I'm going to take this back to just the mental side of the thing and the kind of just the self-attribute of self-control side of things. Like, you can control one thing. You can control your attitude. You can control your side of the boat.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, I know, Brian, but like, man, you have to fight to at least stay positive through it all.
Daily.
I mean, as a co-angler, sometimes you're fishing for one bite, one opportunity to execute. And if you blow it, you're going to come in at zero. But then you might be fighting for one opportunity, and it might come at the end of the day, you know. But if you don't keep your head in the game, that opportunity is not going to come. So you got to fight to stay positive on that side. You got to fight to stay positive in your conversing with your boater. You know, I'm not an aggressive guy when it comes to co-angling. You start casting over this guy's shoulder. You start, you know, making him uncomfortable. I mean, if you think about it, the boat is pointing that way. And if he's fishing that way and you're firing over his shoulder, then if you draw a whole circle around the boat, you've basically taken and you view this whole circle around the boat as a pie. You're basically giving him a small sliver of the pie. because he's not going to cast back over you. And that's like one thing that I know. I hear stories all the time, and I have never, ever experienced this as a boater this year or as a co-angler where, you know, the guy's just yelling at the co-angler and they get into it over, you know, guys being a aggressive caster. You don't want to do that. You know, just because the guy's going down the bank doesn't mean that he's not leaving fish. There's fish. A lot of times there's fish swimming everywhere, depending on the body of the water. I know at Hartwell, I mean, you're constantly, if you turn the graph on, you're constantly going over bass. But that's one of the things. You don't want to be too aggressive unless he's inviting you, maybe. But, man, you really want to keep that positive attitude going. I can't tell you how far that can go for your success as a co-angler.
What if the person has a really long beard and smokes cigarettes and constantly cuts you off when you're trying to fish on the Chesapeake?
Well, if you're a co-angler, you don't have any control.
That's good.
I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a boater, I'll never forget this because I just don't have it in me to do this. But we were fishing with our old pal Mike Reed, which I know he's watching. Mike helps us out with the Bass University. I was fishing with him down in Smith Lake, Alabama for the Bass Cat Owners event. And Smith's his old stomping ground, so I figured it was a good excuse. It was the week after the Bassmaster Classic, good excuse for him to stay over, practice at Smith. I go home and work, come back and fish with him. And, man, we had a great time, and we got on them on the second day. We got on just like a little depression area, and we were just smoking them, you know, 2-pound spot after 2-pound spot. And somebody came in on us like hot and heavy, like probably what you're talking about, Pete.
Yep. Was he smoking cigarettes?
He was in our tournament actually. And you know, we're trying to fight back for a check. We were kind of on the bubble going into that day, and we came back and had a good finish. But Mike just puts the talons down, and so he digs the talons down because we had switched. We were fishing a spot he knew about, so he had taken the front of my boat. He put the talons down. He just chirps out there, "Hey, 50-yard rule. My poles are down. You're in the tournament. I know you're in our tournament. 50-yard rule." He had no problem with telling them, and they were like, "What? I'm not trying," you know. So he won that.
Yeah, well, the anchor rule used to be there's all kinds of anchor rules. Who knows if they even still exist or how they look?
I don't know if that was even a rule.
Yeah, but it was good. It would make up the rule. You know,
just shame them on your podcast, right, Pete? Hey, I got a microphone.
You know who you are.
Hey, for what it's worth, that guy had come in so close. He was casting in the depression, and I was casting to a point with a Carolina rig at this point. I think it was a Carolina rig. And literally, he came over where I had casted. So the boat was literally over my bait. Like, I'm not kidding. And this confrontation is happening, and I get a bite, set the hook, and like this 2.5-pounder comes up and jumps within, like, they could have almost netted the thing, you know, like they were that close. So that probably helped provide emphasis, you know, but.
Well, JK, let's make the turn. We all here at Bash U and the people watching at home want to wish you best of luck in the Derby tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys. We're going to go give it everything we got, leave it all out there. Going to fish hungry tomorrow.
Fish hungry. That's
just like Pete.
That's the phrase. Fish hungry, guys. And,
right.
Thanks for making time, coming out. Go get your stuff together, get rigged, and go crush them, man. We're all pulling for it.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Good luck, man.
Great show tonight. See you guys.
Thank you, man. BTC, do we have anything left on our agenda tonight?
Hey, shout out to Andy Montgomery. Sounds like he got himself in a bit of an accident today. Kind of serious,
really?
but it sounds like he's okay.
Good.
Something about a skid steer, and sounds like he's okay, but could have been pretty bad. So I was just catching up on that.
Shout out to Andy Montgomery. Wish you all the best, buddy.
man.
And
Yeah, I wonder
shout
how
out to
Dudley's
Mike
doing
Reed.
with COVID. I know a week ago we mentioned it.
No news is probably good news.
Yeah, let's hope. I have to follow up on that. But yeah, thinking about Dudley too. He's an awesome dude. So,
Absolutely.
Rajol, what do you got over there?
We got a Facebook like and share. Still to go.
Get it?
We have David Dudley coming up just on November 12th. Swim baits. We have a seminar from David Dudley coming on bashu.tv, so check that out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Riz?
let's wrap it up, Rich, and get the heck up out of here.
All right. Our Facebook like and share winner tonight from the Bash University podcast is Phil Clark. Congratulations, Mr. Phil Clark from Terrell, Texas. I will be contacting you via social for your mailing information so that we can get you your prize pack sent out. It's 4 rod sleeves, a Bash U hat, and a shirt. So congratulations, Mr.
Awesome.
Phil Clark.
Congrats, Phil. Shout out to Mike Reed. Miss you, man. Look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully at one of the Bash University events this year. Guys, it is Black Friday at Bash University, $50 off. If you haven't subscribed yet, go over to bashu.tv, get yourself hooked up. Guys, thanks, man. Appreciate all you guys being with us tonight. BTC, Riz, GDP. Thank you, guys. And we're going to see you right back here next Tuesday, 7
Pete,
p.m.
I'd like to see if we can get Clark Wenwin and Austin Felix do an AOI ROI show next week.
That would be awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that. You okay?
That
with
was
it?
yeah. It was. I am totally okay with it.
All right.
Clark is a hero of mine, and Austin was amazing. It was such a nail biter. The AOI and the ROI battle this year. Like Clark caught one fish at a tournament that got the AOI for him. The pressure, the insurmountable pressure on that was just, that's crazy. Look forward to it. All right. We'll keep you guys posted. Next Tuesday, 7 p.m., Senko's Anonymous, Bash University TV Live. Check it out. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
See you, everybody.
From the C-Clear harness is power. C-Clear Power puts enough voltage to your units to make them maintain the performance that they're supposed to maintain. So if you're not seeing everything like you think you should see it, C-Clear Power will show it to you.